Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 331, Poetry Commotion. The episode begins with Ash and the gang arriving just outside Lava Ridge Town as they overview the entire town with joy, with Ash immensely excited to face his fourth gym battle in Hoenn. On their way to the gym, Ash and the gang passed by a delicacy store, and May instantly bought a Lava Ridge Town delicacy snack and began happily chowing down on it, sharing it with Pikachu, who also enjoyed it, as Ash and the gang crossed a nearby red bridge, which was supposed to take them to the gym, according to the Pokédev. Brock then decides to read a bit of information on Lava Ridge Town, as he learns that it was a town famous for its hot springs, when, just immediately after Brock said this, Max was the first one to spot people being buried in the sand, which was a special alternative to hot springs as well, if there was more than just regular hot springs. Upon seeing all these people relaxing in the sand, May, Max, and Brock wanted to do the same, especially after Brock mentioned that these sand baths were supposed to sap away tiredness, but Ash didn't let them, reminding them that his gym battle comes first, and was the reason they had come to town in the first place. Max and Brock agreed with Ash, although May took a bit of convincing, which was Ash promising to come back to the springs later once he was done the gym battle. Also, to convince May even more, Ash brought up the prospect that he had to go to Fall Arbor for May's contest when he didn't want to, so May should be willing to go to the gym first, just because she didn't want to. Meanwhile, Team Rocket had also arrived in Lava Ridge Town, although they were extremely goddamn tired and exhausted from walking for so long, and complained about this. But during this, James reminded Meowth and Jessie about how Lava Ridge Town was supposedly super famous for their hot springs. Hearing this, despite her tiredness, Jessie drags Meowth and James along Lava Ridge Town looking for a hot spring, and they eventually find one and jump right in, with Jessie excitedly jumping in first and enjoying herself with just her towel on. While Jessie was having an immensely good time though, James and Meowth were not having nearly as much fun, as Meowth reminded Jessie that they had more important things to do, such as capture Ash's Pikachu, but Jessie claimed that their most important thing they could do right now was recharge their batteries and enjoy life for a moment. Eventually though, Jessie was fully recharged and ready to go after Pikachu, but by this point, James and Meowth were actually enjoying the hot spring, so the opposite happened. They wanted to stay, while Jessie wanted to go. So they were depressed that they had to leave. Meanwhile, Ash and the gang had finally arrived at the Lava Ridge City Gym, but when they knocked on the door, no one answered. They called for a while after that, but still no answer. After waiting a while though, they see a girl running around yelling, having her hair on fire, yelling hot, 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 unable to stop. So Brock takes action by sending out his mudkip and having it use water gun to extinguish her hair. This makes the girl catch her breath, breathing a sigh of relief as she stops and thanks them, especially Brock, and then pulls off her jacket and sweatshirt, which makes Brock instantly attracted to her, seeing her in a skimpy outfit, although Brock gets pulled away by Max by the ear when he tries to do his usual flirting. Ash and May then ask the girl how she even got on fire in the first place, leading the girl to reveal that she was training with Mag, M-E-G, and Meg, M-A-G, her two Slugma, but she was accidentally burned by their flamethrower. And she then shows Ash and the gang her two Slugma and hugs them, also stating that she was trying to get them to evolve. The girl then asks Ash and the gang what they were doing at the gym, leading Ash to obviously reveal that he was here for a gym battle. The girl immediately becomes super excited at the prospect of battling and exclaims that she had a new challenger because she was the gym leader, and she introduced herself as Flannery. Ash and the gang introduced themselves, although Brock soon remembers that he had heard from his guidebook that the gym leader of Lava Ridge Town was supposed to be a man named Mr. Moore, not Flannery. Flannery tries to prove that she was the gym leader by sending out another one of her Pokemon, her Torkoal, which Ash uses his Pokedex on, because he's never seen one, and Flannery then tosses a piece of coal at Torkoal for it to eat, and it catches it, and shows its thanks for the charcoal by burping it, causing a whole bunch of smoke to come out of its nose. Ash, seeing Torkoal ready to battle, came to the conclusion that Flannery must have been starting the gym match right then and there to prove that she was the gym leader, so he sent forth Pikachu to battle, but Max stopped him and reminded him that gym leaders had to battle on official battlefields, not just outside the goddamn gym, and asked where the real battlefield was, leading Flannery to admit that she didn't want to show Ash and the gang the actual battlefield, since there was a slight problem with it, but when Max asks again, she takes Ash and the gang to it, and they see the battlefield had several very deep holes. In shock, as they notice that battling was impossible. Ash and the gang tried to give Flannery the benefit of the doubt and ask if the gym was under renovations, and that's why there were holes, but Flannery explained that her last challenger liked to use the move Dig a lot, and she forgot to clean up the battlefield since she was so caught up in her training, which made Ash and the gang doubt if she really was the gym leader, not believing that a gym leader could be that unprofessional. To make up for her unprofessionalism, Flannery takes Ash and the gang inside the gym's little lounge waiting room and serves them all some drinks, admitting that the match had to be put off, obviously, because of the state of the stadium. Max tries to test Flannery to see if she actually was a gym leader, asking her what the rules of a gym battle were, leading Flannery to just state that her grandfather changed the rules a lot, which made Max doubt that Flannery really was an actual gym leader, since only a gym leader should be able to change the rules, not her goddamn grandfather. Although May accuses Max of not listening to Flannery's whole story and being impolite, as Flannery continues to explain that the reason why her grandfather changed the rules was because her grandfather was Mr. Moore, and he used to be the gym leader. She adds that she herself has only been a gym leader for 3 days, having taken over for her grandfather after he had left on a poetry writing mission across Hoenn and Johto, leaving her in his stead. Also going into detail about how he was as a gym leader in the past, stating that he mainly battled with his Typhlosion, and together they were able to beat almost any challenger, especially challengers that she could recall that had Vileplume, Doduo, and Breloom. Also revealing that, essentially, he got tired of battling in his old age, and therefore he started to take up a new hobby since he wasn't entirely fulfilled by battling, being writing and reading Pokemon poetry. And he took this hobby so seriously that he started to work at the Pokemon Poetry Writers Club, which was mainly for elders, explaining that he was basically his own boss because he formed this club and recruited a whole bunch of his old friends. And eventually, as the club went on, Mr. Moore and his friends all saw a Politoed in the nearby hot spring on a lily pad, and one of Mr. Moore's friends, Mr. Gavin, wrote a good poetry book all about the Politoed, and it was so good it became a bestseller among all the elderly people in Loveridge Town. And Mr. Moore was motivated by how successful his friend Mr. Gavin was, so he decided to go on a solo journey to be a great Pokemon poet, and that's why he left Flannery in charge of the gym. Doing so after they had held a celebration party for Mr. Gavin and celebrated his poetry book selling so well, and Flannery then recalled Mr. Moore leaving on his solo journey and began to tear up a little bit, missing her grandfather. And recalling how she promised to take good care of the gym, and revealed that she hadn't actually battled any challengers yet, and the opponent that used Dig was still from 3 days ago when her grandfather officially had his last gym battle and then left. She just hadn't cleaned it up yet. Flannery stated that she was embarrassed with the fact that she hadn't cleaned up the gym yet, but tried to excuse herself by saying that she was too busy training. Max reminds Flannery, though, that the gym leader was also responsible to create a good battlefield for the battle. Although he admitted that he knew what it was like to have to clean a gym battlefield and how tough it was, so he understood why Flannery didn't want to, but he knew that it had to be done. Flannery questioned how Max knew what it was like to clean a gym field, leaving May to cut in, explaining that her and Max's father, Norman, was the Petalburg City gym leader. Flannery was amazed by this, stating it was a pleasure to meet May and Max, explaining that she had actually met Norman before. Rock didn't want to be shown up by May and Max, so he made sure to reveal to Flannery, trying to flirt with her, that he was also a gym leader, being the gym leader of Pewter City back in the Kanto region, or at least he used to be. Although before he could finish his explanation, he was dragged away by Max. Then Ash cuts in, really wanting to have his gym battle instead of just talk, so he suggests that he, May, Max, and Brock should all help Flannery clean her gym up. Max, May, and Brock all decide to help as well, knowing what it was like to have to clean a gym and how tough it was. Flannery extremely gratefully accepted their help and prayed up into the sky, believing that her grandfather, even though he was still alive, must have been watching over her or some shit, because this was a very lucky break for her. So she then hands Brock, May, Max, and Ash some shovels, and they go out to the gym to clean it up. Meanwhile, we then actually see Mr. Moore standing on a cliff overlooking Loveridge Town, since he had only went on an extremely short journey, since he was too worried to continue about Flannery being able to handle the gym on her own, and he was worried that she would basically ruin the gym and shit while he was gone. So he wanted to come back to watch over her to make sure she was doing good. He didn't want Flannery to know that he was back, though, because that might mean that she would quit looking after the gym entirely, and therefore he wouldn't be able to see how she could handle the gym. So, when he heard some of his friends walking by, apparently looking for Mr. Moore, after hearing that he had come back to the nearby Fall Arbor town, and thought that he may have in fact come back to Loveridge Town, Mr. Moore hid behind a tree so that his friends wouldn't find him and reveal that he was back in Loveridge Town. And as he was hiding behind the tree, the biggest one in order to conceal his identity the best, he overheard his friends walk past, wondering how far Mr. Moore had went across his journey after coming back to Fall Arbor Town, and how much poetry he was able to write while he was gone. Meanwhile, back at the gym with all the holes in it, May, Max, Pikachu, Trico, and Torchic were carrying big rocks to fill all the holes, whereas Ash, Brock, and Mudkip worked on filling the deeper holes with dirt. Flannery was working on filling yet another hole, while Torkoal was rolling huge rocks. So basically Flannery and Torkoal were working on their own hole. Flannery apologizes for not cleaning the gym before, stating that she shouldn't have been forcing Ash and the gang to help, but Ash and the gang assured her that she wasn't forcing them. They wanted to help, especially Ash, since the faster the gym was cleaned up with their help, the faster Ash could have his battle. Meanwhile, after Mr. Moore's friends had left, he had decided to walk down to a little cliff by the gym, and he disguised himself with a wig and some facial hair to look as if he was a young man, so that he wouldn't be spotted, and he spied on Flannery and Ash and the gang in the gym with some binoculars behind a rock, once again to make sure he wouldn't get seen, and he started to cry, disappointed that Flannery hadn't cleaned the battlefield and needed people to help her, and he was worried that Flannery wouldn't be a good successor as a gym leader after all. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was spying on Ash and the gang and Flannery from behind another rock by the gym as well, and James was the first one to notice the Torkoal, which was putting some rocks inside the holes. And James instantly recognized it as one of the Hoenn fire types. So, even though Meowth usually only just wanted to capture Pikachu, he declared that they should capture Torkoal as well, suggesting that they could give Torkoal to Giovanni, and he proceeded to have a boss fantasy about what Giovanni would use Torkoal for, such as lighting candles during power outages or lighting fires for barbecues. However, Meowth's fantasy was interrupted by James, making Meowth angry, as James pointed out that Giovanni would have no use for Torkoal for doing those things, since he could just use a lighter. And right before Meowth could fucking pummel James, Team Rocket noticed Mr. Moore, who was behind the other nearby rock, and they suspect that he could be a member of Team Magma or Team Aqua since he was spying. Although suddenly, Mr. Moore notices Team Rocket as well, and both Team Rocket and Mr. Moore panic as they both hide behind the rocks again before deciding to leave the area, not wanting each other to notice each other any further. Meanwhile, Ash, May, Max, Brock, and Flannery, along with all their Pokemon that were out, decided to take a break from cleaning the gym as they were exhausted, and Flannery gave them some more cold drinks, orange juice, as a reward for helping out, and also gave the Pokemon some food as well. During the break, Max asked about what badge Flannery gave out to challengers, leaving Brock to answer for her, saying that he heard from his guidebook that it was known as the Heat Badge. Max asked to see the Heat Badge, though Flannery declined, stating that there'd be no point, since she would never even give out a Heat Badge, since she would never lose, so she didn't want anyone else to even see it. But Brock suggested that she should definitely get ready to lose to Ash, and take a Heat Badge out, just in case. Flannery then admits, though, that she was so confident that she wouldn't have to give a badge out, that she wasn't actually even sure where her grandfather kept the badges back when he was the gym leader, so she requested that Ash and the gang help her search for them, so they did. Searching shelves all throughout the gym, as Mr. Moore was watching through a window on a tree by the gym with some binoculars, and he was immensely frustrated to realize that Flannery didn't know where the badges were located. Thankfully, though, Mr. Moore knew where the badges were located, and the reason why Flannery didn't know was actually because Mr. Moore moved them around every once in a while so that no one would steal them. Basically, he put them in a different location every once in a while, so Flannery couldn't just know one location and then know it by heart. But anyways, Mr. Moore decided to step in and help Flannery out with finding the badges. Of course, not wanting to reveal himself, so he disguised himself as an old dude wearing a blonde curly wig, and he then walked inside the gym and went up to Flannery and asked where the bathroom was, saying he really had to go. So Flannery leads Mr. Moore there, and he looks at a blue box in the room and was curious as to what was inside. Flannery was curious as well, not knowing what was inside, so she decided to open it and realized that it was the box of badges. Basically, Mr. Moore had disguised himself as someone who needed to use the bathroom so that he could direct Flannery to the bathroom where the badges were kept. Anyways, Flannery was pleased, obviously, and then suddenly, Mr. Moore has claimed that he suddenly didn't have to go to the bathroom and suspiciously left the gym, which Ash, Brock, and Max and May pointed out was pretty suspicious, since the guy just walked right past them coming out of the restroom. And they tried to call for him, asking who he was before he left the gym, but Mr. Moore just ignored them and ran off out of the gym down the hallway, smiling to himself that at least Flannery knew where the badges were now. Flannery then opened the box of badges and showed Ash and the gang 5 Heat badges, admitting that she needed to be more organized, promising that she would be from now on. Anyways, Ash and the gang and Flannery decided that they should go back to cleaning up the gym, along with their Pokemon, and they did that, filling up some of the holes again, although Flannery got tired after working for a bit, claiming that this was way too much work they were doing, and they needed to find an even more efficient way to do the cleaning even faster. As Ash and the gang tried to think of a more efficient way, something different came to Max's mind, as he reminded Flannery that she didn't have a battle judge, so even if they cleaned the stadium, she wouldn't even be able to have a battle with Ash. Ash was terrified by this, while Flannery explained that when her grandfather was a gym leader, he had a student who was the battle judge, but once Mr. Moore left, the student also left on a vacation. Mr. Moore was still spying on the gym, so he decided to take action and help out Flannery again, as he rang the doorbell at the gym, so Ash and the gang answered, and they saw none other than Mr. Moore in his young man with facial hair disguise from before. Mr. Moore claims that he was from the CPPGJ, or the Committee for Popularizing Pokemon Gym Judging. Brock was suspicious, not having heard of that organization before, but the disguised Mr. Moore exclaimed that he was sent by Mr. Moore to help judge the match, claiming that Mr. Moore felt bad for not having a gym referee available for Flannery as soon as he left. Mr. Moore also stated that he had saw what was going on at the gym, referring to the fact that the stadium wasn't cleaned yet, and he stated that he felt bad for Flannery in her current position, and offered to help clean the gym as well. Ash was very grateful to Mr. Moore for helping clean the gym field, as was Flannery, especially when Mr. Moore revealed that he had brought some better tools for cleaning the gym, like a flattening wheel they could roll around to level out the field a bit. And they did just that when Flannery let Mr. Moore into the gym, and he, Max, and May rolled the flattening wheel around. With Flannery watching on, grateful that her grandfather had cared enough to send a referee for her, although Max, on the other hand, was bitter that Mr. Moore hadn't had a referee ready beforehand, and claimed that he was irresponsible to leave Flannery unable to actually have a gym battle without a referee. Just then, as the field was being repaired some more, Ash and the gang and Mr. Moore heard another ring at the gym doorbell, although before they could answer it, the people who rang barged in, being Team Rocket, disguised as professional construction workers in hard hats, carrying bags of sand, before dropping them in some trolleys and wheeling them into the gym. Everyone asks what they were doing at the gym, leading the Team Rocket to lie that they heard about the issue at the gym somehow, and they offered their assistance with repairing it. Obviously, Flannery, wanting as much help as possible, accepts the help, although, upon seeing Team Rocket, even in their disguises, Mr. Moore recognizes them, while Team Rocket recognizes Mr. Moore. I guess you could say they were both experts at telling disguises, since they always wore them. Mr. Moore and Team Rocket wondered why each other were at the gym, but they simply just shrugged each other off for now, and they got to work. After a while of James pushing around the trolley of sand, though, he obviously remembered that he was at the gym to steal Torkoal, not to actually help, so when James got in close range of Torkoal, Meowth came by, sneaking into the gym, and tried to lift Torkoal, so that they could put it inside of the trolley. Meowth was having trouble lifting it though, so Jessie came over and helped him, and after some strenuous effort, they managed to put Torkoal inside of the trolley and then stuff it inside a bag. Although they made so much ruckus while doing this that Mr. Moore spotted them putting Torkoal inside the bag and called them out for it, leading Team Rocket to reveal themselves, taking off their disguises, and doing their motto. Leaving Ash and the gang shocked to see Team Rocket, as Jessie then sends out Seviper and has it use haze to create a huge thing of smoke to blind Ash and the gang, allowing Team Rocket to run away into their Meowth balloon with Torkoal. Once the smoke dissipated, everyone realized that Team Rocket was gone, so they went to go give chase, but unfortunately, they already saw that Team Rocket had took off in their Meowth balloon. And unfortunately, even as Ash and the gang, Mr. Moore, and Flannery ran, they couldn't catch up to the Meowth balloon, so Ash went to send out his Tailo to do an aerial fly to the Meowth balloon and pop it, but Mr. Moore stopped him, claiming that he should have realized that Team Rocket was bad, and he wanted to handle them, as he sent out his Wingle, and orders it to go to the Meowth balloon to pop a hole in it. Upon seeing this Wingle, Flannery was reminded of the pet Wingle her grandfather had, and found it suspicious that Mr. Moore and the judge here had a Wingle, not knowing, obviously, that it was because Mr. Moore and the judge were one and the same, so they, of course, had the same Wingle. Wingle then flies to the Meowth balloon and causes it to crash down, popping a hole in it. Ash and the gang and Flannery then confront Team Rocket, as Ash goes to send out his Corphish to deal with them, but Mr. Moore reminded Ash that he wanted to handle the whole situation, as he sent out his Typhlosion. Upon seeing the Typhlosion, Flannery gets a strange feeling, like she recognized this Typhlosion, like she recognized the Wingle, and begins to speculate that maybe the judge was in fact her grandfather after all. But before she could make any confirmations, Jessie then resends out her Seviper, while James sends out his Cacnea to battle Typhlosion, although Cacnea, of course, hugs James first, prickling him. Seviper then goes in for a Poison Tail to hit Typhlosion, although Typhlosion retaliates with a Tackle attack, barely even damaged by the Poison Tail. James then tells Cacnea to use a Pin Missile on Typhlosion. And Flannery didn't think it was fair to have a 2-on-1 battle, even though Mr. Moore wanted to handle it by himself, so she sent out one of her Slugma, Mag, M-A-G, who used Ember to counter the Pin Missile, deflecting it and destroying it. Typhlosion then uses Flame Wheel to burn Cacnea, almost knocking it out. Seviper then goes in to wrap Typhlosion, but Typhlosion stops this by hitting Seviper with a powerful flamethrower, burning it as well, and almost knocking it out. Cacnea then recovers and goes for a Pin Missile, although Typhlosion just uses yet another flamethrower on it to burn it. While this was going on, May and Max snuck around the Meowth balloon where Torkoal was located, and they hopped inside the Meowth balloon to grab the bag, and then they jumped out of the balloon, taking the bag out, and they got Torkoal out of the bag. However, Meowth saw May and Max as he wasn't battling, and he went to go attack them, jumping in front of them, prepared to use his claws, but with Typhlosion occupying Seviper and Cacnea, Flannery was able to have her Slugma use a flamethrower to attack Meowth and stop him, leading May and Max to carry Torkoal to safety, hiding behind a bush. Cacnea and Seviper then go in to attack with a Wrap and Bite from Seviper and a Needle Arm from Cacnea, aiming for Slugma now, although Slugma simply just used another flamethrower to burn Cacnea and Seviper, and because of this, Slugma now had enough experience to begin glowing, and it evolves into a Macargo as Flannery congratulates it, and Mr. Moore congratulates Flannery as well, as the two of them cheer, while Team Rocket was left confused. Flannery then thanks Mr. Moore for his help, not knowing that it was Mr. Moore yet, and they start to shake hands, congratulating each other on the epic battle, but then, as they shook hands really hard, Mr. Moore's fake mustache and his glasses fell off, and his wig moved a little to reveal some gray hair. Flannery found this extremely weird, wondering if maybe her hypothesis of the judge actually being her grandfather was right, so she takes off the wig fully, with Mr. Moore not objecting because he realized that his jig was up. And it reveals, of course, that the judge was Mr. Moore. Flannery was somewhat surprised, but reveals that she did somewhat expect this as well, stating that she was very happy to see her grandpa. Mr. Moore laughs embarrassingly at his disguise being uncovered, while Team Rocket were confused, questioning on why the fuck he would wear a disguise to spy on his own gym. Brock then goes up to Mr. Moore and tries to earn his respect, since he wanted to date Flannery and all that, as he goes on and on about how awesome of a granddaughter Mr. Moore had, and how great Flannery was and shit like that, and how he was sure that Mr. Moore was great too, leading Max to pull Brock away by the ear again. Team Rocket were angry about now being ignored, with Ash and the gang, Flannery, and Mr. Moore having forgotten about the battle, so James restarts the battle by having Cacnea use a Pin Missile, but Flannery and Mr. Moore notice this, as the two of them team up with their Mag, the Slugma, and Typhlosion, and they both use Flamethrower at the same time to send Team Rocket flying back into their Meowth balloon, and then Pikachu sends Team Rocket blasting off by using a Thunderbolt. Mr. Moore compliments Flannery on her battle skills, and Flannery thanks Mr. Moore for helping, although she asks why Mr. Moore came back in the first place, leading Mr. Moore to reveal that he was worried about Flannery being able to take over the gym all by herself, leading Max to point out that if Mr. Moore was that worried, then he should have supplied a referee from the get-go, instead of having to come by and be one himself, leading Mr. Moore to laugh, admitting that Max was right. And he also states that that was one of the reasons why he came back in the first place, because he realized that he hadn't given Flannery a proper referee. With that, Ash and the gang, Mr. Moore, and Flannery return to the gym field, with Mr. Moore leading the way. And they all work on repairing the gym field again, but much to Ash and the gang and Flannery's surprise, Mr. Moore brings in a whole bunch of Lava Ridge townsfolk to help out with the gym, making it good as new. With the gym fixed, Ash was eager to have his battle immediately, but Mr. Moore suggests that the gym battle be postponed until tomorrow, since it had been a long day. Ash accepts this, as do Brock, May, and Max, as they all suggested to Ash that they should take the time that they had tonight to go to one of those hot spring sand baths and have a little rest to warm up before the gym battle, really wanting to do that. However, Mr. Moore butts in and states that they didn't have to go to one, he could just do one right in the middle of the gym. Exciting May, Max, and Brock, as Ash decides to join in as well, and Mr. Moore buries Ash and the gang in some of the sand that they used to repair the gym. But not before Brock tries to flirt with Flannery one more time, and Max drags him off, with Brock stating that he would love to be buried with Flannery in the sand. But anyways, once Ash and the gang were buried, Flannery and Ash expressed their desire to battle tomorrow, stating how excited they were for the battle, and they both eagerly declared that they were going to win. As Pikachu declared his desire to battle Flannery as well, Mr. Moore was inspired by Ash, Flannery, and Pikachu's determination to battle, and he decided to write a little haiku about Ash and Pikachu to show off that he truly did have poem skills, and he didn't just stop being the gym leader for no reason. And sure enough, much to Ash's surprise, as he usually didn't like haikus or poems, as he was reminded of Professor Oaks whenever he thought of any haikus or poems, the haiku was actually very well written, and it was funny, making them all laugh.